Good afternoon, everyone. Today, what I would like to do is to help you answer the question, are you ready for AI? This is admittedly going to be a whirlwind kind of tour because I've only got half an hour. I'm sure I could keep you here for about 4 or 5 hours. But in the half an hour, I'm going to brush the surface, and hopefully it will start you thinking about your AI journey. A quick introduction to myself. I'm the CTO of a company called Calybre. We're a data and analytics company, and we have a passion for how AI can be used within companies. And we love solving data problems that customers have. I thought we'd just start off with this slide. And I'm sure many of you have been involved in this kind of conversation. I want AI. Oh, give me one of those. I mean, those kinds of things come through quite a lot. And there's been a lot of conversation recently, is AI hype or is it real? And maybe that's something that we can explore today. So I did a bit of exploration on the internet, just looking at what are some of the news headlines around AI and the hype around AI. And there were some interesting articles that were coming out, especially seeing some of the decline in stock values of companies that have invested significantly in AI. I think NVIDIA was an example of that. Second one was around, is AI a breakthrough or is it just a bubble? Are we just experiencing that bubble and potentially it could burst at some stage? Another one that was a little bit concerning is that there is AI hype in manufacturing, but there's very few use cases that seem to have come out from it. So, it makes us sit here and worry. Are we looking at the wrong thing? However, in my view, and you'll see there, the last article is an article from Gartner where AI is a fast-moving technology, and it will move through that kind of hype cycle of being something that's considered hype to being something that is going into mainstream adoption. So I thought I'd summarize my views just in one slide. We know that AI is real, and we're experiencing that reality on a day-to-day basis. So, AI is real. That's great. I'm sure a lot of you are asking, okay, that's great, how do I get there? And what we've done is, as a company, as we go through this conversation that we have with customers, we've defined a 4-step journey to becoming AI ready. And the first part of the journey is to know your case, know your use case. I like to articulate it as know the business opportunity that you're wanting to seize using AI. The next step of that is to look at, do you have the data in place to be able to support that case for AI? The 4th stage is, do you know what model you're going to use? And we'll go into a little bit about what a model means. And from there, we can move into some of the other kind of considerations that you need to take as you're going down this AI journey, this path to AI ready. And then underpinning all of it is skills and talent. How do you utilize the capability in your organization to be able to use the elements of AI to solve for that business problem? So, and I've just got a little bit of a breadcrumb at the top, so you can see how far I am through the presentation. So as you're getting hungry or something like that, you can see that we almost finished or maybe not. So the question is, where do you start? And as I said before, it's all about organizational impact. What impact do you want to make? And answering the key question, what is the problem you're wanting to solve? Or what is the opportunity that you're wanting to seize by utilizing the promise of AI and what AI can give you? Now, I've thrown up on the next slide just some of the common use cases or common business problems that AI has been used to solve. Maybe I'll ask for a bit of audience participation here. How many of you are involved in any one of these items utilizing AI to solve them? Maybe I'll read one. Predictive maintenance. Yeah, feel free. Oh, there's somebody there, very brave. Another person down there. Risk assessment. Okay. And if I don't see hands for fraud detection, I'll be very surprised. Fraud? Oh, there's one or two people out there. Well, that's good. And these are really, really interesting spaces where AI has already proven value. And maybe it's more around the machine learning aspect of AI. But from our experience, so representing Calybre, from our experience, I've got a sample of 4 use cases or problems that our customers wanted to solve with AI. Some of them we've solved, and some of them we are on the journey to solving with our customers. So the first one, which was interesting, was we've got a customer that does biometric validation or identity validation, but what they needed to be able to do was to enhance the validation off of a computer image or off of a photograph, but focus on the regional differences that people have in terms of facial features. Yeah, they're based in Africa, so there's definitely a set of models that needs to be trained around that biometric validation. The second one, which is interesting, is regulation. So we're dealing with a financial services institution that does cross-border type transactions, and there's a lot of regulation around that. And you've got to be able to be on top of what the new regulations are, not just in one country, in the variety of countries you're dealing with across borders. And we wanted to enable the team that was involved in that to be able to query the information that's just come out and see how it aligns in terms of the general compliance regulations that they had to go through. Then one that's fairly close to my heart, because we use it ourselves, is we wanted to, in the recruitment space, find people who would thrive in our type of organization. So you normally go through CVs and you look for skills and you look for years experience, but there's other things that exist within the way somebody answers questions as to what kind of persona they are and will they fit in the organization. And we built out an AI model to enable us to identify amazing talent that works for us, and we're starting to push it out to some of our customers. And then the last one is demand forecasting in the restaurant industry, pretty much in the fast food space. I was told by one of my colleagues that I need to say fast food because fast food may not sound quite right with my accent. So in the fast food space, we needed to be able to predict hourly revenue as well as hourly inventory of perishable goods, because you're wanting to be able to push the goods out as well as meet demand that the customers have on a seasonal or regional basis. So what you can see here is that the business problem informs what you're going to do from an AI perspective. And by the way, each of these has a very different kind of AI structure that sits underneath it, and I'll mention that later. So as we're going through assessing your readiness, we've spoken about know the case or the problem you want to solve. The next stage on the journey is to evaluate your organizational readiness. And for us, evaluating readiness is built of 4 components. And we'll deal with them slightly in different phases. But the first one is the use case. We've spoken quite a lot about that. There's data availability. Do you have the data that you require to be able to solve for your problem? Do you have the right skills and talent? And then the last one is, do you have the right infrastructure to be able to build your models, to build your environment in, so that you can service either at small scale and in a lot of cases at a large scale. And that's all down to the type of infrastructure you use. So being a consultancy, we came up with one of these awesome 4-quadrant models. Who's never seen a 4-quadrant model? If you haven't seen a 4-quadrant model, you haven't been involved with a consultancy ever before. But we've got a 4-quadrant model that helps you assess your readiness from 2 kind of axes. The first one is your technical readiness, and that comprises things like your infrastructure, your data, your governance, your use, your AI or machine learning use. And then there's organizational readiness on the bottom, which is all about what is your leadership like? What's your strategy like? What are the skills and talents in the organization? And what about your culture in terms of adopting what's required from a AI perspective? And in each of these quadrants, there's a description. A beginner, somebody who hasn't even started the AI journey. They're kind of interested in it, but have no idea where to start. You're traditional. You've got a well-structured business, and you've got the possibility of seizing the opportunity of using AI, but you haven't taken the step into the next stage. And that is, in a lot of cases, an enablement or a technical step. How do you up your use of the tools and technologies? Then the explorer. I love this space because this is where people are playing with all the toys. Yeah, you're playing with a ChatGPT model or a machine learning model, but there's a lot of excitement and experimentation that happens. But what they haven't done is aligned that exploration and that excitement into solving for a business problem or a business opportunity that will allow the business to realize a lot more in their market. And then you've got the masters. The masters have done it all already. They've got all the check boxes in place, and they are already seeing the benefit of AI in their organization. So I'm just going to do a quick poll here again. How many of you believe you're in the traditional space? Please feel free, put up your hand. Okay. I'm not taking down names, so it's okay. Then beginner. Who's at the beginner stage? Okay, there's quite a few more beginners. Okay, and that's a really cool space to be. Who's exploring? Who's playing? That's even more exciting. There's loads and loads of you who are exploring the opportunities. And who here feels you've got it taped? It's done. It's ready. You're allowed to put up your hand. And it's not boasting, because there's some amazing organizations out there. It seems like most people are in the explorer space, which is really, really cool to engage in. So the next step of assessing your readiness is looking at your data readiness. And we've all seen this thing, garbage in, garbage out. And for us, your AI model is only as good as the data you train it on. And what I did is, you'll see at the bottom there's a link, and hopefully it comes through when you receive the presentation, is that I went to one of the latest Google kind of surveys that they did. And the survey is all about, it's got a whole load of different areas, but one of the areas they talk about is that AI innovation will hinge on good data governance. And part of the highlights out of this was that 45% of organizations are concerned that they don't have good data governance. But added to that, 66% of them are worried that there's dark data or uncurated or unmanaged data that's sitting in the organization that is potentially being used for a business purpose. And all this leads into data accuracy. Good data trains amazing data models, which allows you to seize the opportunity of AI. So those are 3 areas around data accuracy. And what was even more interesting is that only 24% of organizations believe they've got a mature data governance capability in their environment. And part of that maturity is having the right data governance tooling in place, as well as the right data governance teams in place to be able to make sure that data quality is a serious consideration in the business. Then the next space, so for techies like me, this is one of the exciting areas. It's all where the cool new toys come in, but AI infrastructure is an important consideration when you look at your maturity and your readiness. Again, I took some of the insights from Google and what they were saying, but they predicted that this year is the year of rapid data platform modernization. And part of driving that is that a lot of organizations' legacy systems cannot inherently support the needs of AI. So here you've got only 14% of organizations believe that their legacy systems can support their AI initiatives. What this has done is it's driven the move to people considering cloud-first architectures. So being able to leverage off of what the hyperscalers have invested in terms of their data and AI platforms. So cloud integration and cloud architectures are becoming more and more critical in the AI conversation. And part of that has been because the drive of open technologies, open source data platforms has enabled a lot of the cloud-based platforms. And you can see that when you look at things like Apache or Hadoop. Those elements are forming a foundational component across most of the hyperscalers. And executive attention is now being driven towards, is there a cost benefit and an innovation impact that can be brought in because of the investment in a data platform modernization initiative. And these are important elements when you're looking at evaluating your readiness. The fourth phase is choose your model. So AI, it's a broad umbrella for for different tools, different technologies, different approaches. But at the heart of it is the model that exists. Now, models are effectively just trained programs that are trained for a certain task that can be run. So object recognition, image recognition, sentiment analysis, prediction, those are all done by training a model based on data that you've got accessible to you. There's two categories of data model. So broadly, and there may be more, but these are the two that I think are most relevant. You've got pre-existing models, so things that have already been trained that you as an organization can use. And you can use immediately and you can engage with rapidly. I mean, one of the examples of that is ChatGPT. That's why I put ChatGPT insignia there. And then the second one is custom models. These are algorithms or programs that you can use and you can train yourself based on your data to get your very specific outputs that you require. Aligned to that is there's kind of three families of AI models. There are more, but these are the three, let's call it most topical ones. Gen AI, we're in the Gen AI theater, it must be topical, but effectively something that generates content for you, that generates something that you can utilize out of the box, and you can enhance it with things like RAG, as in the previous presentation. Then machine learning, utilizing models to do prediction or do classification, and those typically sit in the custom model type space. And then you get deep learning. These are, in a lot of cases, pre-existing, but you can also build your own. And this is for doing things like image recognition and speech recognition, sentiment analysis. And a lot of the hyperscalers have got pre-trained models in these spaces that you can just utilize. I want to play a bit of a game. So we're in the Gen AI theater. What I want you to do is see if you can spot the AI image. Okay, and it works on a 1, 2, 3, 4 system. So if you think one of them is an AI image, you hold up one finger. If you think it's 4, you hold up 4. Okay? Okay. Okay, how many do you think there were? Okay, there's a nice variety here. I've seen ones and twos. Well, there's definitely one in there that's Gen AI. Okay, twos, there's threes. If you were holding up 4 fingers, you got it right. Okay, all of those are generated. And the last step on the journey is actually some considerations. And a lot of the considerations that we need to deal with right now it's pretty much around the awareness of what are the regulations that are going to impact us. And I've picked on GDPR and EU AI Act as the two. However, the local kind of variants of those will be adopted across the various countries. But what they are looking at, and where it's really important, is that it's all about using AI responsibly. So it's the responsible use of AI. It's not, so it's understanding how AI is used. And part of it is, are you being fair? Are you discriminating against people? Are you transparent in how you're using AI? And then from an accountability perspective, are you accountable for how you are using AI? And part of it is also, are you exposing vulnerable people or vulnerable communities because of your use of AI? So you've got to look at those acts in that light and make sure that you are complying to those. Are you being responsible when you're utilizing your AI information or models? So we've moved through the 4 steps, and the last area I want to look at is skills and talent. And again, I've taken some of the thoughts from, in this case, Gartner, and part of one of the papers that they wrote around top data and AI trends was talking about skills and enablement. And there were a few themes that came out, and the one was employee empowerment. How do you empower your employees to become more literate in using and understanding the impact of AI? The next part was around training approach, and what this was about, you've got to look at where your organization uses AI. Is it expert, or are there AI users? And catering your training accordingly, because there's different workloads that are required. And there was a prediction. Whoever knows Gartner, they always predict something. And what they were doing is they were predicting that 50% of CDAOs, Chief Data and Analytics Officers, will be able to secure funding for data and AI training programs by 2027. So it's top on people's agenda. But part of the problem is, how do you find the right skill? And some of the things that I'd like you to consider is that it's very hard to find one person who can do everything. Typically, it's a team of people or a team of capabilities that you mix and match to achieve your outputs. There's always going to be a trade-off when you're building your team or finding your person between the depth and the breadth of their experience. And you've got to be very deliberate about that. And probably the most important criteria is finding people with the ability to adapt and the ability to engage in such a rapidly moving field. I mean, AI is changing on a day-to-day basis. You've got to have people who have got that resilience to be able to adapt and engage with the new elements that are coming out. And then just some tips. You need to look at the nice-to-haves and the must-haves when you're engaging in finding your skill. Also consider your budget, because in this day and age with scarce skills, budget determines depth of skill in a lot of cases. So you've got to look at what you are going through there. You need to plan an ongoing skills development initiative with the teams or with the people, because of the rapid moving nature of AI. And then one of the important parts, and maybe that's where we come in, is consider external assistance in your journey. So when we're looking at that piece, it's all about finding the guide for your journey, somebody who will start you off, somebody who will help you navigate some of the pitfalls in your AI, in the AI journey steps or your path to readiness. And the first part is, when you're looking for people, they've got to know how to align AI to the business needs that you have in your organization. They've got to either have industry insights or be subject matter experts in the domains that you're looking at. They need to understand the legislative and the governance structures that surround AI. There's a demand for deep technical capability, so people can build the pipelines, build the models, and also companies that will look at training and developing your team. Now, some of the realities in the space, and I've picked up two, is that you've got to consider, do you go for a single provider, or do you look for a potentially specialists in the area? And the one part is that specialists tend to give you that deep skill that you need in those different areas. That being said, is that you can find partners that will lead the journey or engage in the journey with you, and they will introduce the right specialists at the right time. But what you've got to hold them accountable for is to be able to mobilize AI delivery and make sure that you get real value at the end of it. So just a quick reminder, the journey steps: know your use case, evaluate your business, choose your model, consider the environment it operates in, and look for the skills and talent that you need for the journey. So just an open offer. I know that after the conference there's the opportunity to join us for a chat, so we're going to have some drinks at our stand, and we're just here in the discovery zone, so just a few stands down. Come in and have a chat. Sign up for, we've got a more detailed webinar that we're going to be running, and if you want to connect with me directly, you can scan my LinkedIn code. But part of the discussions we want to have on the stand is, where are you on your journey? What models are you choosing? What successes are you having? What failures are there? Because we're learning as much as anyone else is in this type of area. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you, and I hope that you come past our stand and we can have a bit more of a one-to-one conversation. Thank you very much.